Where's my mouse?
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 15, monumental episode, because 15,
Milestone. See,
15's a round / even number, apparently. So, we're on episode 15 of the Slowest Fast RC podcast, and today, joining us is our friend Ethan Mackanick. He's going to talk to us about some things. Taylor, would you like to talk about the agenda for tonight's episode?
Yeah, Alex has got a list of upcoming events in the area. Then we're going to interview Ethan. We're going to do hopefully quite a bit of in-depth setup talk with Ethan. I'm sure he's got some pretty good insights on that. There's some new product I wanted to talk about, and then predictions for the Roar Field Nats.
Alrighty. And now we're going to roll a disclaimer and get that out of the way.
Disclaimer. You're about to listen/watch a podcast hosted by a group of friends who tend to use vulgar language and profanity, and also enjoy pounding adult beverages. Viewer discretion is advised. Lastly, we may be making some bold statements. All views and statements made in this podcast do not reflect the views of any sponsors, guests, followers, or any supporters of this podcast. So be cool and don't get offended. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy.
And we're back. So, upcoming events we got coming up. We had a lot of rescheduling with as of we're recording the weekend of, now we're talking the 31st and the 1st. A lot of rain was happening around, but we still have May 31st is today, so tomorrow, while you guys aren't even listening to this because it won't be out for a few days, Pit Stop and the Spring Bling Cash Race by Dog Days is happening tomorrow, Sunday the 1st. Then we got June 7th. That's going to be the Wide Open Crazy at WOCRC. Then we have also June 7th is Trains and Lanes. They rescheduled to the 7th. Rhythm RC Raceway is going to be June 7th. Then the 7th through the 8th is the Tilt Yard season opener. Then we got Park Lane Hobbies having a race on June 8th. Also on June 8th in the Pittsburgh area, we got the swap meet at 412 RC Complex. A little benefit for our friend Bill, trying to raise some money for him. We'll be open practice, and if we have enough to race, we'll do a little race too. Then June 14th, Adrenaline's having a race for their series, and then also on June 14th is 412's having a race. So, anyone else have any upcoming events?
I think G's had a race, at least on their flyer. I didn't see anything else on it. It was June 7th as well.
Okay, so June 7th as well then. That's all I got for upcoming events. So, Taylor, I will let you have the floor from there.
So let's introduce our guest, Ethan. Ethan, we want to have you on because you were at a pretty big event here recently. You were at the Roar 1/10 scale off-road nationals. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I usually go every year to, I'd say, the dirt nationals at least, or one of the 10 scale nationals, either dirt or carpet. And this year it was at Hoosier, which was pretty good.
That's fun.
Hoosier, I think, is probably best, if one of the best for sure, if not the best 10 scale dirt track in the country wise.
Bold statement.
As far as track side or like track size, the pitting space is all really good. A large building, They keep the surface pretty consistent and everything. Hobby shop's pretty good, well stocked. Yeah, so we drove over to there. It was at 8 hours. Entries were, I'd say, about average for the 10 scale dirt nationals of pretty much was like 160 to 210 is about all it sees now.
Are nationals limited in entries or is it open? I thought.
I mean, this race is usually it's theoretically limited to like I think 300 or 350.
Oh wow!
But
I wasn't expecting that much.
Out in years. So, I mean, it was at like the best track I would say to have it at, which has a rate like they have a race there in January that's like almost 500 entries. So it's
Clash
like
of
it's
champions, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we went over for that. Obviously, our area doesn't have too much dirt indoor. At least for me, I have Mimi's, which is like an hour and a half from me. And I think my next closest is probably Macon Tracks, which is upwards of like 4 hours, which I haven't made it there yet at all.
So, did you practice beforehand at any of these tracks to prep for this event?
Yeah, I went down to Mimi's 2 times, just run a little, make sure everything felt all right. I put the full lineup of Coyote electronics in my 10 scale cars, so that was my first time running them. So when I went down to practice, made sure it was set up how I wanted it to be, and then I didn't exactly worry too much on setup because just if I was gonna try to run what was working well at Mimi's, it wasn't gonna work well over at Hoosier.
How's the grip difference between Mimi's and Hoosier?
Right now, I would say it's pretty large. So Mimi now has just gone to a flat glued surface. The layouts are changed a lot more frequently. So the grip, it just doesn't build up because before obviously track layouts were in like year and a half. So the grip was similar-ish, but Hoosier still always had more grip. I think the biggest difference there between Hoosier and that is just the largeness of the track, and that it's a lot more open in that. It's not tight at all, so that's really what makes it, I would say, a large amount different.
Is Hoosiers just dirt and water, or do they artificially do stuff to their surface too?
It's dirt, water, and glue.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
So, Ethan, I found through some Facebook reconnaissance that you been to our old Davies and I old stopping grounds at one point, Kicking Dirt Raceway. So
yeah, I've been there. I'd say more than 10 times.
How do you
How long ago was that have been?
Well, that would have been what, 8 years ago, probably.
Ran there, I think like once or twice in his last years of running, and then there was like probably like a 3-year gap that I wasn't there, and then before then I was there like a good bit for like I'd say like 2 years straight.
We were probably there at the same time because I lived there in high school, you know, like. But
it's a small world. That's
yeah, right.
Cool.
Anyways, how would you compare that surface compared to Hoosier?
Like grip wise?
Yeah.
Not even like similar.
You'd say Hoosier is that much higher grip?
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting.
At least when I've always ran there, it's like Kicking Dirt. It was almost just like a really worn out, like super soft tire, slick tire was better.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Like Hoosier wise, you pretty much just take a set of silvers out of the bag and sauce them, run them once, they're gonna suck, but then the next run, your car, it's good then, and your car's like flipping over everywhere.
Wow. Okay.
What do you use for sauce while you're at Hoosier?
Pretty much just I wouldn't say spec sauce, but like the go-to sauce everybody is just SXT Baja. So
yeah.
The best.
That's all
That's
I've always
crazy
used
how that stuff works over everything. Carpet, dirt,
yeah,
doesn't matter.
Yeah. I use it there just because like 95% everybody's using it, so it's like might as well just use it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Has anyone ever, like at Hoosier specifically, because I guess this is the surface that would pertain, because I know at a TR when they were doing slicks only on the carpet, people were having a lot of luck running balded carpet tires due to their stiff sidewalls. Has anyone ever played with that at Hoosier?
I don't think so. I don't think it'd work too
Okay.
well. I mean, we glue the sidewall bands in like the front of the tires.
You do that
already,
on
so
the okay. I know it's kind of
yeah.
apples to oranges, but
Well, then JC makes like
I
those
I don't I
stickers
just
too.
think the probably like the rubber mixture of the tires probably just wouldn't work too well.
yeah, which makes sense.
So I guess that can lead off to the tangent, because everybody says Hoosier's like the highest grippy dirt place in the country. How did that compare to like a carpet surface? You know, like if this is still so super high, but like how does it compare to carpet? I guess.
I would say at times it can be harder to drive on than carpet.
Fuck that then.
How? Like this is I want to understand this. Wait a minute. Because in case you don't know, we're not fans of carpet on this show, or at least the two of us.
Ignore
in
his
stream.
shirt.
Yeah, why would you say it's harder to
This
drive
is
on?
on road. It doesn't count.
I'd just say mostly because like obviously with it being dirt, there still is a line, so staying within it. Because like at least at Nats, if you stepped anywhere outside of the black line, you were just instant donut.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, like carpet, it's pretty easy to get your car to just not flip. You just glue the sidewalls up pretty much. But dirt, even with gluing sidewalls, there was cars still flipping. In fact, there was some guys, they were probably gluing like a quarter of their axle, just like
Jesus.
the width of the slick.
So it's not that the traction is higher; it's that because it's something else, or that sounds
abysmal.
That sounds kind of painful too. This is why we loved kicking dirt, because you just put on floppy primes and it would
It's
still
done.
work.
You could run the
Yeah.
same primes for 6 years straight.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
I'm sure a lot of it has to do with, you know, the flexing of the normal off-road tires.
yeah, because
Because
it
they
is
have
a
way
lot
more sidewall.
chunkier. And,
Yeah.
The carcass that's in them too is
Yeah.
different, you know, all
Yeah.
that. But
So, Ethan, I know you
Note to
from
self,
8-scale
don't-
racing. I'm not trying to change the subject, but I was curious, what do you prefer, 10-scale or 8-scale, as far as racing goes?
Yeah, I would say for sure A scale. What I've just mainly focused on my whole time in that. Like I have put like a little more focus on 10 scale the last 3-4 years, I think. About, but I don't know, for our area, it's just A scale is just almost the way to go, as just more racers are running it. There's more tracks.
And then with 8-scale, do you like nitro or electric more?
I would just say nitro, mainly just because longer mains wise, and I don't know. Nitro cars, I just feel like almost easier to get around for me than electric.
Why would you say that?
I think it just has to deal with something with keeping up corner speed with nitro cars. Harder to do than with just an electric car.
Yeah.
It is.
And then it's something like layouts can have just certain features that like being able to pretty much keep up the proper speed to like clear a jump right out of a turn or something. That can also be pretty tricky versus just electric car just yanking it and almost always making it.
For some reason, it feels more right. Like literally, I've only ridden nitro for 2 events ever, but like for some reason, running it, it's just like this feels like how this is supposed to be, you know. Whereas like it's like now it's like I've literally the last 2 events I didn't touch my electric car till Q1. It's like because I want to do this prep car, and it just feels so different. It just feels right. feels like this is how this is supposed to be, and it's awesome for Matt.
And Nitro is the glory.
It is the glory.
So Ethan, do you have any more 10 skill events on the horizon for the remainder of the season?
Not exactly not that I know of right now. Kind of just laid out by month and a half at a time. So basically, when I decide what races I'm gonna hit and that.
Mm-hmm. Let's backtrack a little bit. And so, when did you first get into RC racing?
So I first got in when I was probably like 5 or 6. I'm down here in Shippensburg, so G's is like 10 minutes around the corner from me, pretty much. So I was running there pretty much weekly, and then when winter hit, Richfield was around back then. So I was up there with Aaron and them, and then it wasn't long after that we found out about Kevin. They were just like, we started going over there, and it wasn't racing then. It was just more or less kind of just practicing and screwing around. So that's what kind of led us into LCRC then, and then I've pretty much been there since his first race that he's ever had, and then I started on just running like slashes, and then I just went like in the e-buggy, and then nitro, and then there's also like running like bumps and jumps was around then. I'd run there too. Like Alex mentioned, kicking dirt too, and Mimi's too. Whenever I could get down there, also, and then I got adrenaline too, which is pretty local for indoor racing and that.
So, would you rate yourself a slightly better RC racer than your sister then?
Yeah, slightly better.
Marginally, just a little bit.
Yeah, just marginally.
Do you remember what your first e-buggy was in your first nitro car?
My first e-buggy was one of the AE cars. I don't know if this model number is right. It's like 8.2 or something.
Like the original RC8 with the C-hubs?
Yeah, it was pretty old.
Yeah.
One more in the house.
Yeah, probably one Pookie has, yeah.
I think first nitro car wise was MBX7, I want to say it was.
Sweet.
7R, something, one of them.
So, Ethan, you got a ton of tracks nearby. How often are you practicing nowadays with racing?
So, I was going a good bit, like 2-3 times a week, but usually right now it's once, twice a week. So, I got G's nearby. I run over there sometimes. And then we go down to Adrenaline a good bit just because they have indoor or outdoor. So during the summer, it's almost, you don't really exactly have to worry about the weather in a sense. So then LCRC, occasionally, not too much. If it's after a race weekend and it's not going to rain at all, I might try to like get up there on a Monday or Tuesday if I'm like dying to try something while the track's still pretty much blue, but not too often. And then in the winter time, I'll go practice carpet at 997s sometimes too.
We got to link up for an adrenaline date here in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Ethan, are you going to the Adrenaline Invitational? This is kind of like a off-subject thing because I'm
I'm gonna try. Can't guarantee anything now.
See, it's the first week in October.
Yeah. I went last year. It's a really fun race. Like pretty laid back. I mean, it was, I think, their largest entry count race, but it's a fun time in that. It's slightly ran different. I think, like, not ran different, but like, I think it's like a flat rate fee, and you like run as many classes you want, and then they have catered food there. Like I think it's like 3 or 4 like solid meals, so it's pretty good for what you get for the whole weekend in that there.
That's cool.
And it wasn't nothing ran crazy. They split it up with day scale I think ran outside and 10 scale was inside.
So that they ran. Wait, this sounds interesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they ran. I don't know if it was. I think it was something like 10 scale qualifiers would run first on like Saturday morning, and then they would go outside and do the A scale qualifiers. And it was the same Sunday. So like both tracks weren't running at the same time,
but they were running at the same day.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah. So that actually worked out pretty well.
Two like different car, different track, different car.
But you don't have to worry about.
It's not old school Motorama where you can get like.
On first race on both tracks. Fuck.
I like that the race is guaranteed too because it's covered. Like worst case scenario is you could just go indoors and run your nitro.
Yeah. I think I know that's what their I think pretty much policy thing is now is that like
right
if outside race and it gets rained out, we just go inside.
Yeah.
We got Q1 in outside. It started raining for Q2. We did Q2 inside, but it dried out, so we did Q3 back outside again.
Fuck it.
Are you doing any of the race time entertainment events this season, Ethan?
So I did PMB. That's the only one I usually do. All the like the next one is like typically Wicked Weekend. I usually just don't do that one because typically there's like ENATs in July, so they almost fall on top of each other a week apart. So, and then AMS was always during like school time, so I could just never get away from that.
Are you trying to do the fuel nats that are coming up or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Texas Fuel Nats.
Nice.
Cool.
What's I think isn't it just nationals now? Because
it's all
ENATs
together.
and fuel. So it's just 8 scale nationals.
It's weird saying that because it's like it's always been Fuel Nats.
Yeah.
It's just
Are you running all the classes? You bringing 6 cars with you, or what are you doing there?
I'm only doing 3.
Yeah. What 3?
Just Nitro Buggy, E-Buggy, and Nitro Truck. The
Gotcha.
3.
Would you say Nitro Buggy is your favorite class?
Yeah. I would Nitro Buggy or E-Buggy, but I'd probably just go with Nitro Buggy.
What's the race that you look forward to every year?
Man, honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I'd honestly maybe say Fuel Nats just because like, the ladder main system is different. That's that. I'm not entirely sure.
So you like different style run events, things like that? A little bit more track time?
Yeah, in a sense. It's just the ladder main system's like kind of weird how it works. So it's like all weekend you just go running a normal format, and then Sunday you almost gotta like turn around, and you could end up running like 45 minutes out of like the last 2 hours or something that was on the track. Like I think is it last year? I think was that the first year they did that like Pro Tech Cup format thing? Different
For
at
LCRC?
Yeah.
I think 3 years ago was.
Okay. No,
I believe.
I remember last year. I thought that like that one was pretty interesting. How they basically the Saturday night like pretty much starting grid round.
Yeah, your
Sunday.
Super Cup round, I think they call it.
Yeah. Yeah, that there was another one.
I got
only
one.
other like.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The only other like kind of weirdish format is like Adrenaline will do so like one qualifier for the top 3 laps.
Oh yeah.
That one's like good in a sense. I just hate that it just feels like you're sitting for so long just waiting for that one round. But like it works out. It just feels like you're waiting so long.
Well, the one time we went down to Adrenaline, I think Taylor was down there with us this time, and they did a seating round, and they only took your fastest lap, and it was like a 2 or 3 minute race or something. And
2 minutes.
took 2 minutes. Yeah, you were there, and they took your fastest lap. This was the only time I hot lapped ever in my life, so like I seated fucking like third overall or something in open e-buggy. And then I just shit the bed after that. So I'm like, as I'm walking up to the stand for first qual, and I'm like with all these guys that I know are 10 times faster than me, I just hot lapped somehow. And I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna shit the bed. And then I was like, C main, like
Back where you belong.
So, like,
go back, boy.
there's pros and cons to that that format.
I want to know. Why don't you tell us about? You were in a Visions race, right?
Oh yeah, I did that race the
Did
two
you- did
years
you-
that.
Oh, you did them both.
Yeah, the
Oh, cool,
first year, second year,
cool.
both years.
Elaborate on that, because that seemed kind of
You're
neat.
making me think
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, thank.
Honestly, totally forgot about that race.
I completely.
Possibly
I remember
the
seeing you in
biggest
there.
televised race ever.
Literally,
Could
because
you
it was the
say?
only one that was
It's on
televised.
Prime.
Yeah.
They haven't had it at all like the last year, and I don't think it's happening this year.
They don't got enough money.
Yeah, well, I think something happened, like the facility or
Oh, that's
Oh, that's unfortunate.
that race there was that was really cool actually. Now that I remember it, was the format was pretty much like typical for the open class, and the invite class was it was normal format, and then you just had
Because the mains were like counted down laps,
three
like a real race, right?
yeah, I think it was laps, and they were pretty much trying to get to just like a 15-minute run
Mm-hmm.
based on laps. So the invite class was ran at I think it was three mains. I'm pretty sure they all counted. But that facility there was super nice. Like everything else that they had that going on there was just like, especially like when we went the first year and came back the second year, like seeing what they changed and added to stuff is pretty cool.
So it's a place that
Track looked
has
pretty
like.
good too. Good.
Oh no, yeah, the track. So the first year it was like little, and it was like really bumpy. Both years it looked like just really bumpy.
Yeah, it got pretty bumpy. I want to say it was like not normal bumpy, like anything crazy. It was more or less that it just got grooved up and like sharp. The bumps kind of
They did look kind of sharp.
they
like,
smoothed off kind of, so that like whenever you were hitting them, like where it was grooved up, they were really abrupt. They weren't abrupt. They just like caught the side of your tires a bunch, really.
So what do you like for a track then, Ethan? Do you like when a track grooves up, super high grip, you could see black rubber going down the straight stretch? Or do you like something that stays like loose, loamy? What do you prefer?
I'd say I don't have too much of a preference. No, like at least I want to say it. Know that usually like look back in our area like 5-10 years ago, we didn't see too much of I would say like rubber down blue groove that we do now. Like one of the I know trains and lanes would always get like that. They do have a higher clay content, like dirt wise. Like LCRC didn't get like that as much as it did now. Like now it's like almost every time that Sunday comes around, it's like you're guaranteed to be on almost 2 compounds harder than you were on Saturday. So I'd say over time, like it's taken getting used to and just figuring out cars on it. I would say so. Like I think it's helped. I know like you can't just go to track and run on something that's higher grip usually. But I guess like just because majority of our tracks in our area are just like low medium grip, I'd say that's pretty much the go-to then.
Yeah. So moving on from track services and all that, talking more about setup stuff. What sort of things from like an LCRC Friday, Saturday are you normally changing to when the track grooves up to the Sunday?
I'd just say the biggest one's probably tire compound, maybe tread. Friday, Saturdays, typically just like green reflex and then like green relapse and maybe blue relapse. If like Saturday gets grooved up, and then by the time you get to Sunday, you're mostly on just blue or aqua. As far as car setup goes, typically it's go a little thicker in like shock oil. And then
Is that due to a temperature change or just because the track service came up a little bit more higher bite?
most of the time it's just because like track surface, like if the temperature was the same from like Friday to Sunday, the grip came up, I usually still go up a little for it.
When you say a little, how much are we talking generally?
50 CSD.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll take out toe if I feel the need for it in the rear. And like after all that is I usually do diffs if I feel like they need to go up at all.
Do you like to keep the same balance front to rear and go up like a certain percentage, or do you just kind of have like what you've tested with and just throw that in, or how do you make that change?
If the grip comes up and my car just feels like it's diffing out all around, I'll just go up in all the diffs. But just depends on I guess how it feels like. Usually, I mean, if the grip comes up, I'll just like go up in the center a little unless I feel the front or rear diffing out too.
So here's a little bit of an add-on to that. How do you make that judgment call on a Sunday? Because like
Yeah.
you don't run until you're AMA, and you know what I mean. You're just out there watching races, and you're like, oh shit, all right.
I mean, it just kind of comes with the experience, like looking at the track and knowing what it should almost feel like without even a car being on it.
Give us some data points.
Must be nice.
So it's like you're feeling the temperature, you're seeing what other cars are doing. Maybe are the other cars like rolling over on the side a little bit, traction rolling, for you to make this change? Like, give us a couple data points that you're seeing in your mind, other than you just know the grip came up and it's time to change.
Or leading into your main, are you guinea pigging other people? Hey, try this. Or
Yeah.
He's talking to the C-main intermediate drivers like Davey and I. Like, hey, what tires did you like?
It ain't gonna matter what tires I have on.
They were awful.
I'll typically, obviously, just watch other cars, like what they're going around on tire wise, and then I'll look at like what races are before whatever race I'm in. That's like probably the biggest one because, like, if it's like a 25-minute nitro truggy or something before that, like nitro buggy, you're guaranteed the track's gonna go up in grip there also. And then pretty much while you're watching cars, you can typically tell like if coming up to like the B mains and that and like the 15-minute races, if they're on like too soft of a tire after like 10 minutes, you'll just be able to tell by their car. Typically, like the 180 turns, I would say, are easier to tell if somebody's on too soft of a tire. Like coming out of the turn.
Okay, go ahead.
Coming out of the turns, you can, if the car looks like it almost like wiggles coming out of the turn, most of the time it's just too soft tire, I would say, in a sense. Or if like it just looks like it abruptly snaps around too, and like in the middle of the turn, it can just be too soft tire. It can also be car setup too, but you can typically just see if somebody's on too soft tire, if tire rolling over, or if it like looks like it's almost just riding on the rim. And obviously, when they come off, if they just bald like really fast.
Yeah. Is that just kind of playing to the fact that tires are 90% of the setup?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it goes down to like whether or not you're running out there with glued foams or not, too. Also, like that's something else I know a bunch of people play with off and on and everything. It can make or break cars.
Do you glue a lot of your foams in 8-scale stuff,
Another
or
episode.
no?
Off and on, it's just kind of something that you look at and just almost decide whether or not you should glue them or not glue them.
Mm-hmm.
So the grip gets that high. We're going to use LCRC as an example because that's a place all of us on the screen have been. Are you saying that that grip can get that high at LCRC to glue the foams?
I would say so. Mostly want to glue foams there just because it's higher speed. But obviously, like on like Friday, Saturday, I want to say it's like much like you don't probably want them that glued just
Because you're
because.
still running on greens.
Yeah,
Huh.
like when it gets higher grip, the glued foams can help. Just have a car that's more stable and throughout longer runs.
Interesting.
Sure.
You talked about feeling the car diffing out and stuff. Do you want to explain what diffing out is to a couple of our listeners if they don't know what that is? Kind of still sticking with some of the setup stuff.
Explain it to me.
I would say mostly just like you let off the gas and it just feels erratic. It just doesn't like feels like it decelerates smoothly. That could also be like just letting off the gas and like the rear end becomes unstable. It could just be diffing out. And it could also just be like when you get on the gas hard coming out of a turn and then it just feels like it snaps over hard too. Basically because your car's too light on diff oil and it spools up basically and then can't support.
Yeah. Can you see that while you're watching other people's cars or no?
Yes and no. I mean, if I know like exactly what the like person's running everything else and like just their diff oil was too thin, I'd say it's something that is kind of easier to see and notice.
What are some of the most common things that you're changing on your 8-scale cars out there at the track when it's varying conditions, stuff like that? We already talked about diffs and the tires. Is there anything else other than that? Oh, or shock fluid, you mentioned that too.
Um, Pretty much just do that. I'll change maybe like the front anti-squat or kick up there.
What are you trying to achieve there with the kick up?
I typically just go to last kick up as the grip comes up. Typically,
Okay.
just move it like one position up. Just kind of go by if it feels like car's going too much on the front end, like going into turns when the grip comes up. And upper arm, those little like C-clip shims. Change them occasionally. Yeah. Change them occasionally, but I'd say it's almost you just set it from the beginning of the weekend just based on what the track looks like and run it.
What are you judging on the track? What it looks like in order if you put the shims in the front or if you put them in the back?
So like if we're going to LCRC, I would say shim the arm more towards the back. Like if we're going to adrenaline where it's a lot tighter and need more steering, have the arm more forward. So I think it's just more or less the responsiveness of like you initially turn in.
Anything else in the rear you changed at all, or is it all in the front, Ethan?
The rear I pretty much I'll just maybe play with toe, but I typically just run standard toe unless it like grips up a bunch. And then sometimes like the hub height, but I'm just kind of just stay towards a standard position.
You don't change your links too much at all as far as the camber links go, either on the hub or in the tower.
Only under pretty like severe cases, I would
Yeah.
change. I wouldn't I try to run pretty much the longest link possible, and then only to place sometimes I go run shorter if I'm on a really tight track, but it's not too often.
Interesting.
So would you say you generally have like your kind of base setup that you've discovered with your X-ray cars and kind of stick to that and then just change just a couple little minute things when you go to different tracks?
Yeah, pretty much. I have like a good idea, like what to start with going from track to track, just based on size and like what typical condition is. So when I go there, I usually don't make too much changes. Might try a thing here and there just because it could be something I'm trying at the time. But typically from the get go, most of the stuff's within like right working range that it should be.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys change and play around with shock piston packages quite a bit?
I usually just try to stick with one.
Yeah.
Just all the time. There is times where you need to run another one, and when that happens, just typically just run whatever needs to be then. But just at the time the track's smooth or just slightly bumpy, and that same shock package will work unless you're going to something that's super bumpy.
So, like, how much did your setup change, from a normal LCRC event to, like, I don't know, when you went to the Visions race, or have you done DNC or any, like, Silver State or those ones?
I don't go to DNC or
Okay. Because LCRC is normally, we've all agreed, and off screen that LCRC is usually a smooth place. Like, have you at anywhere gone bumpier than that, and how much have you changed from what you would normally do?
Yeah, I've ran on like some pretty bumpy tracks, and there was I'd still just run the same pistons. There's other things you can change on the car to help in the bumps, but I'd end up usually just running the same pistons.
And you talked about changing tire compounds and stuff usually on Sundays. Do you ever go to like a bar tire on Sundays when the surface is not so dusty and loomy, or do you stick to like a relapse?
Yeah, I've ran bar tire before. Typically, the bar tire, I feel like you just gotta almost run it pretty hard on Sunday. It's almost needed as aqua. It doesn't have the port as like relapse, but I think that's why you gotta run it harder. They're probably honestly about the same speed there.
So if there's like a clean line, you'd say, we'll say, however it kind of was the last time, you could either run like an A2 double bar or a blue relapse. You would say that's probably about the same speed of a tire for you?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. It's interesting.
Is Ethan hooked up with any tire stuff, or does he just run JC because JC? So all he's mentioned. I'm just asking.
Run for JC.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, shout out to your tire sponsor there, of course. Mike, do you have any other setup questions and stuff as well?
Not at the moment, no. Pretty much everything was answered just from talking.
I got kind of a setup, not really a setup question, but kind of, it can be. What X-ray car are you running, Ethan? Are you running like are we on the 25 now, or are you running like...
There's a 26 out, yeah.
Yeah, like, are you running the 21 like Boo Gavin, or...
I'm just running a 25 car.
Okay.
Everything in the kit, nothing special on
You're
the
doing the pillow ball thing, right, the whole way throughout.
They still offer the C-Hub conversion for that?
Oh, sell it.
You broke up.
you say toe out?
No, do they still do like
The
the
C
C
hub.
hub conversion? Because I know that.
No, it's sold separately on the side. I think they still not entirely sure though.
Well, does like, is the C hub on like because the Truggy comes all C hub, right?
Yeah. For
So
whatever reason.
like, is the Truggy C hub is what fits on the buggy then?
You just got to get the different arms, I guess.
Okay.
You ever do that?
Try to see on the buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
But what makes it work on the truck then? Because they're pretty exotic. How they literally. I still can't get it.
Obviously, a geometry differences between the car that was built to be a pill ball, car was built to be a C hub.
So for some reason they decided to build the truck as a C hub, and I guess it worked. I don't know.
So what?
Yeah, you just.
But like, what do you mean there when you say built to be? You like, I understand what you're saying, but like, how is the diff cases and everything different on the truck compared to the buggy? Like,
I just mean like with it, shock positions and that camber link mounting position. It's like basically all they did was just take lower arm pillow ball carrier and upper arm off.
Okay.
Just threw a link, different front arm, and a C hub on. And like so, the upper roll center was like still in the same spot.
So is it
same?
Would you have to get a different shock tower for the buggy too? Does that come in a kit or something? Because if it's just a link.
Oh, it still used like the pillow ball, how it has the pin that goes through and the plastic. I still used that. It basically there was
like a bunch of
a ball
or something
that just set screw would tighten down on that pin that would go through.
Interesting.
When you said that the buggy didn't feel very good when he tried switching it to C hub, what sort of feelings did you feel that weren't good?
I was just pretty inconsistent wise. There was times where it was like pretty quick, but it was pretty just difficult overall to drive and just wasn't consistent. And I played around with it a good bit, so and there was at least 2 or 3 other people who played around with it too for like solid 3 or 4 months.
Would you say in general you prefer a pillow ball car, or is it just because the geometry just wasn't built?
I would say probably just pill ball. That's mostly what I ran my whole entire time.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. So if really the front end is just the arm, the 2 arms to make the C hub bolt onto the cart, the rear hubs on the truck are the same rear hubs as the buggy as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I've noticed with the X-ray cars, at least with the e-buggies, I don't know if it changes with the nitro buggies, the hexes that come on the cars, it's usually, is it like a +1 on the front and a +2 in the back for the buggies, right?
Yeah, that's usually what comes on the cars.
And like what comes on the truck, is it like the same size all the way around?
A Truggy's usually a +5 hex.
But like the same hex all the way around?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Was hexes, wheel hex, width and stuff, some of the stuff you played with when you were doing the C hub on the buggy? Because that's probably the most powerful thing with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried obviously like different wheel hexes, like sway bar on the front, like Ackerman plates and that, and then like shock positions.
So that's pretty interesting that if it's the same hub in the back, you should be able to I'm definitely sounding smarter than I actually am, but because there's no KPI obviously in the C hubs of the X-ray stuff, it's all straight, right? So if it's kind of interesting that if you can't, it works on the truck with even hexes all the way around, but I guess it doesn't work on the buggy for some reason. That's way beyond me, but like I guess that's just interesting to me. Sorry, tangent. Taylor, say something. Move on from this.
No, I want to stay. You got a couple good questions that drummed up for me too. So Ethan, like still staying on like the pillow ball e-buggy, have you tried different wheel hexes on just the pillow ball, the normal setup, but different offsets, either front, rear, both, vice versa?
Yeah, tried plenty of hexes all the time. Like obviously it's one of the easiest things to change. Pretty much just affect your car everywhere on the track.
When you say affect your car everywhere, could you be more specific?
Just
You
like
gotta dumb it down
way,
in case
the
we
whole
get
way
newbie
through
listeners.
the whole way through the turn, pretty much. Easiest way to put it is you just like wider hexes just feels like a wider turn radius, like on the front, and then on the rear, wider hexes is just feels kind of like stiffer from the side when you're in the middle of the turn.
If you're trying to create more grip, would you rather run slimmer hexes or wider hexes?
I'd probably say wider. Like typically going wider on the rear just feels like more grip.
Mhm.
I think it's because it doesn't rotate as much then in the turns. So without it, like obviously going forward, they say narrower is like more traction, which I would say I agree with. Like from a standpoint of just like when it get on the gas coming out of the turn, like the wider hexes just feel like more stability wise and that.
And again, preface to the listeners: this is for a pillow ball car. If it wasn't said before.
Mike, do you have any input on the wider hexes or slimmer hexes or what you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, we mess with them on our cars too. Like the Techno cars now come with +1s on the buggy all the way around, and the truck is +4, +2. So 4 in the front, 2 in the rear. And the wider that I've ever gone, or as you go wider in hexes, kind of like what Ethan said, it just makes it feel more stable. It numbs down the car, really. It kind of like dummies it down. But anytime you go narrower, it makes it just a little bit more aggressive, right? Like you feel like you have more steering, all that stuff. It is super. It's one screw. You have to change them. You know what I mean? So if you have them, try them.
It's a screw with thread lock. You might need a heat gun, but you can do it.
What's thread lock?
But yeah, it's like if you're trying for an easy way to take out a little bit of steering, go +1 in hexes in the front. You want more rotation, go -1 in the hexes in the rear.
For your car, I guess.
But really simple things to change, and like what he said, it affects the car everywhere, not in one specific.
It is pretty
standpoint.
drastic change too.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, I run wider ones in the rear of my pillow ball cars for the Mugen stuff. So,
and like this is where Davey and I had a phone call and we talked about this. Where like, even though if we compare a Mugen buggy to X-ray buggy and they're both pillow ball and it's the same shit, it's still different geometry. So
yeah, because
the +1 or +4
the Mugen cars come with the same size hexes all the way around, but all the X-ray it's staggered.
Yeah, so like putting +4 hexes on my Techno
is going to be
completely different from +4 hexes on your car, or even +4 hexes on your X-ray, or +4 hexes on your TLR, or your Miyako, or your Associated, or whatever have you.
I forgot to bring the book. Taylor, bring the book.
Where's the book?
Open the book.
It's in my truck right outside, actually.
It's going to be different depending on C-Hub versus pillow ball, but the concept is still the same.
In theory.
Like the theory behind it is still the same.
But it's based on where the car is designed in the first place. And it's the scrub radius in the front and whatever you would call the scrub radius in the back. It's the relationship between where the wheel hub is and where the center line of the tire is. Again, I'm sounding smarter than I actually am.
Someone listen to JQ.
Well, when you can regurgitate the information, this is what you get. So it has to deal a lot with where that hub is on because if you grab your car,
You tell me to grab it?
in a way. But if you obviously the hubs, let's just say the rear hubs on my car and Ethan's car are closely more similar. It's if you look at it, I mean, because this is the teak note. If you look at what do you got? Oh, that anyway. It's a lot of it's, I can't see if I'm pointing correctly. It's based on the relationship of where that hub is to where the center line of the tire is when you put it on. And if you notice with like X-rays or our Mugans, it's actually like this hub is actually sort of sunk in, and this you'll see a little bulge up top here. That's because where the offset is and all that stuff is. But as you see with this Techno, it's flat, and it's a relationship with how you design the car in the front. And I'm lost my train of thought, but therein lies where you change hexes and stuff, is to change the, you know, where those things line up, and that's what exactly see, and that's what makes it different. Us, you know, me, Taylor, or Ethan changing hubs on the cars versus Alex and Uncle Mike changing hexes on their cars. That's what makes it different, because if you bring that thing past the line or whatever, I'm train wrecking.
Yeah.
Ask.
And on the whole other side of this, how like you just showed like that was offset and whatever, like sunk in, whatever. There's still minimum spec, right?
Yeah.
So Roar's minimum spec or maximum spec.
Or world.
It doesn't matter really where all that stuff falls.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go to the same maximum spec of Roar and go plus or minus from there, it's still the theory of going plus or minus is still the same. So it doesn't matter if it's pillow bar scale or if it's offset or straight or whatever. So
science mode.
That's to just make it super simple.
Look, we bored him.
We
He's
take a
sitting
pee
back
break.
on the. He's sitting back on the food.
Pee
car
break?
now.
Pee break? All right.
Pee break.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to our commercial. ACS Hobbies. Y'all know the deal. Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh area. Go down, check them out for all your hobby needs. Here we are.
So, how do you hobby? At ACS Hobbies, we've got everything to fuel your passion and spark your creativity. Whether you're into RC cars, model trains, boats, or planes, we have a huge selection of kits, parts, and accessories. Need paints or tools? We've got you covered. Test your skills on our RC crawler course or race on our oval track. There's always something fun to do. Plus, discover an awesome range of games for all ages. ACS Hobbies is your ultimate destination for hobby enthusiasts. Visit us today and start building your next adventure.
And we're back. Okay. So I'm going to give Taylor the floor on some new products. Taylor?
So, I don't know if you guys seen this, but Kyosho has a new car.
They do.
Ah,
Did you
yes, yes.
The old MP11.
Yeah.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
old, it's new. The new MP11.
Yeah, did you guys see any of the specs and stuff for some of the things that they changed?
I saw nothing,
No.
and I
I
don't
just
know
saw
what the
some of
original car was
pictures,
at
but
either.
anyhow.
So it's actually like a completely new car
Okay.
from some of the things. Don't take this for, literal, but through some conversations with some people, it's a new 3mm chassis. The engine mount is 1mm forward and 1mm towards the center. They are trying to get everything tighter towards the center there for the chassis. It's got a new rear brace with inserts. It's now actually has easy access diffs, which are different for the Kyosho in the past.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. Welcome to
The 21st.
2015.
Or something.
You know? They got 12 degree casters, new servo sayer, Ackerman, new arm inserts, new towers, new wing and mount, new radio box that rotates the steering servo 90 degrees, and now in the E1 the battery can be ran transverse or normal. So you have options for how you want to mount the battery.
And doesn't it come with the fancy new KPI hubs on that too, out of the box?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
The thing that Chris just spent a couple $100 on.
$128 on, yes.
Well, hopefully it's the
Yeah.
same part number, you know.
Right.
Hopefully
So-
they didn't redesign those.
They only came out with the nitro car, right? They didn't come out with like a truggy or a e-buggy yet.
No. And it's still a prototype.
Nope.
It says it's still a prototype.
So it's not in production
Yeah.
yet.
No. Oh,
I don't know any other details other
which
than
is
that,
interesting
so.
because also I believe happening in the world is the Kyosho Masters.
That's
And I
yeah,
That's going
that's
on
where
right
it was
think Ryan
debuted
Lutz
at.
is here. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I wonder if how many of those guys are running it up there.
I'm
I would
sure
imagine
Probably
Ryan
probably
and
just Kanai.
Fee are-
Is Fee out there too?
I'm sure Ryan and I'm sure they're running parts from it.
Is a little bump out there?
'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, they're yeah.
Oh,
He was
Ethan, you can
sitting
probably
wi-
speak to this. I feel like as a pro level type driver, you always kind of take your kit that's out now and then you slowly start adding some of the newer parts and stuff. So it ends up being the new car, but it just started out as probably the old one. Ethan, do you have some experience like that or no?
Yeah, I would say that, like,
No.
guessing their top guys at that race, probably have like the steering knuckle wise, boxing that on. They probably don't have like the easy access diffs and like the chassis with everything moved in. It's typically stuff that you'll kind of just see whenever you get kits. But like I'd say like the easier stuff that's just like easy to put on the car, they probably have it on their car. Or who knows, they might not have it at all.
so probably
The
just
way-
Kanai.
Yeah,
the way
I think-
the way it looked, it obviously like some of the stuff they've been releasing, they put it on that car, so it might not be exactly transferable, but it's the same geometry.
I believe Ryan had the prototype 3D printed steering mods. It was before Mugen, whether it was the Party Rock race or the Protec Cup we were racing at, and I was pitting him, and he had a part manufacturer because it was a 3D printed part at the time. But
Classified super secret squirrel stuff.
Like the butthurt bar. We'll go into that later.
and then that's all I got for new parts. Alex, do you have some hot takes?
I have one particular hot take, and we briefly went over it in our group chat. And this goes with the Kyosho Masters topic. If anyone has seen the layout of the Kyosho Masters race, so as specifically Americans on the A-scale off-road side, we are groomed, and I don't really have a position on this, it's more of a statement. We are groomed to this rather smooth, wide, 100% clay dirt mixture of some sort off-road track, right? You got the jumps and the bumps and the jeeps and the creeps and you know, and which is great, you know, it's all awesome. But when we start looking overseas and what they're doing over there, and Davey's touched on this in previous podcasts, where like this turn you got turf, and this turn you got brick, you know, and this turn you got wood. Like if we look at the Kyosho, like the Kyosho's Masters track, I really don't know if there's any dirt included on that layout.
Don't they go like to the same place every time and like have
like
a brick?
It looks like it's mostly turf, and then like every turn is a different texture.
Technology, go.
I'll bring it.
Sorry
up.
for the people only listening.
My point is, the hot take is wrapped back around. Why are we so convinced we have to run on strictly a clay dirt mixture? Like, because I know, like, at WOCRC, at times when a jump would be, like, when we make a jump out of basically dust, it doesn't form well. And I know every person that's ever built a track can agree with this. So, like, we would throw, like, at WO, we have the rubber bed liners, the chunk of rubber you throw in the bed of your truck to help your bed floor stay longer. We have a bunch of those, so we would throw this rubber mat over top of the jump to help the jump keep its shape, you know? And people tend to complain, well, I don't have traction on the rubber.
What?
And, well, like...
We're laying down rubber on a blue groove track, and you can't get correct.
In two-wheel buggy, I can get it as dust collects. But if we look at Europe, that's like all their layouts, you know, like... And then there's like there's a certain spot at WO where if we do some things, all of a sudden we can have a concrete section.
That's
You
great.
know? So like, why don't we start doing this once in a while at tracks? Like, I know not all tracks can just go to a concrete section because that's money and time and a whole bunch of other things. But like, what's stopping us from throwing down a chunk of turf or putting some rubber or you know what I mean? That's my point. And why are we so convinced it has to be a dirt and clay mixture? And and then this seems off to another hot take of how drivers in America seem to want a different layout every other time they run on the same track, and
Yeah.
like Europe stays semi-permanent. You know, they rarely change throughout the year, if at all. Sometimes they don't change till buy or try yearly. So why? Why don't we have a little bit of flavor in off-road? And that's my hot take. What does the round table think?
I could see putting some like wood features in that you just drive across, not even like a wooden ramp, but add in either sheets of plywood to drive across, or if you have like a bridge or something like that with 2x4s and stuff, you could construct it. I think that would add nothing like crazy challenging, but it will be
Turn the volume down.
cool to experience the different surfaces back to back, things like that.
So I have a clip from the Kyosho Masters. I think Lefty posted it actually. Well,
that is literally
Kyosho Europe posted
brick.
it, but Lefty shared it. So I'm gonna flip the screen over so everyone else can see what I'm speaking on.
Yeah, this is wild.
Yeah, like okay, so turf, brick,
turf, brick.
There's that might be
that
dirt.
Might be dirt. You're right.
Like topsoil. And then I don't know if that's asphalt or what.
Black
brick.
carpet, brick.
A different type of brick.
Yeah, different
turf,
type of brick.
Different type of brick. Maybe dirt, turf.
That's the rough turf.
That's dirt. That's definitely dirt.
No, that might
turf,
be brick.
Black something. Turf.
Yeah, what is?
Something random in the middle of it, and then there's a wood turn. So back to us.
What's something else to note too is I thought with a brick it would be really high tire. People there are saying that it's actually not high tire wear at all.
Well, I think, and this is where I've personally got input from drivers in our area when I talked about doing a concrete section, is people worried about the same thing with high tire wear, but it's only going to be high tire wear if that is clean concrete. And I'm sure it's the same way with here with the brick and the dirt and everything mixing together, where there's a certain level of dust or other contaminants on top of that brick and concrete or whatever that it's not necessarily wearing your tire out. Taylor, as well as I do from racing drag cars, when there's a layer of dust, it creates a low traction condition and it doesn't wear out your tire. Now, whether it's creating a low traction condition, I don't know, but there's a layer in between.
Ethan could speak on driving across cement. Well, we've seen them.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, pretty much cement and brick aren't actually like driving on ice, I'd say. Obviously, all the cement and that we drive on here at times is just smooth textured. I've driven on like sand-based surfaces, and that is grippier, but I wouldn't say I think it would wear out the tires if it was going into something super high speed, but I still think even at that point you wouldn't be able to go into it too hard because you'd flip off. But to the other thing about Europe tracks like having like a whole bunch of surfaces and that, most of those tracks don't change at all. Like,
this one looks like you can't change it ever.
Yeah,
like there's even drainage in the pit lane. Like you
ain't changing
pit entry or pit lane. Yeah, there's drainage, literal drainage.
Most of them you can't at all, and even like, for instance, this past Nitro Worlds, so like they had the Worlds there 2 years in a row,
right? And
like you're required. The layout was still very similar,
you can
as
only
in
do
like jump
so much, right?
It was more moving, but I think kind of that's due is because I don't know if they like exactly club race on those tracks every single week. Like I feel like that race where the Kyosho race is at, this is probably like their one big race a year.
I see 1994 on a banner there somewhere. It probably hasn't changed since then.
Yeah, this is probably their one big race a year. So, like in a sense, everybody should. It's not like if we, I guess, like if Kevin just had like the same layout and like just had random spin, and only had one race a year, we'd all be fine running on that, right?
I would be.
Like,
yeah, one race a year.
We all agree. Like if we ran on the same layout for 5-6 races a year, like doesn't that get kind of old?
Yeah.
I think it's more.
Well, and see, this is where I disagree because, like, I don't know if we look at any other discipline of racing sport. I mean, besides Supercross.
How often do they change?
Besides Supercross and I don't even think motocross changes too much, but definitely Supercross, obviously. But like, if we talk NASCAR and Grand Touring and like Le Mans,
Formula One,
Formula
like,
One,
how often
we're running the same track every year, 2 or 3 times a year. So, you know, like, I don't know. For me, I wouldn't care.
Could you view it from the opposite way and be like, not that as a negative that they're running on the same track, but we have a positive where we're able to change a different track.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think that my viewpoint is that's a positive. I think it's cool that we get to change layouts.
And it is, absolutely.
And also, on the note of changing tracks, it is also vital to change tracks in the point of when we're dealing like in America, how it's mostly topsoil and clay mixed of some sorts, where like Kevin said on one of his last happy hours, where you only get so much traction out of that top layer that we're racing on. You know, once you put enough sawdust to it, or you run it on enough, or the weather erodes it enough, you can drag it and smooth it up as much as you want, but you aren't going to get that blue groove every single time. You know, you gotta, it's like farming, you know, you gotta mix the nutrients in the dirt. It's the nutrients in the dirt is very vital to traction, just the same as it is to growing a cob of corn. You know, you gotta keep mixing it up. And if you kept the same clay and topsoil track year round, it's gonna get worse at some point and never come back without completely making a flat ground and a big pile of dirt.
Yeah. The other thing too, I know with over in Europe and that, and not just Europe, but I think Australia too, is that most of their tracks are ran as clubs, not as businesses. So as far as that aspect, like a club of 10 guys would probably rather have a track that they can just show up and put their cars down and not like drag and roll before they want to go run or have a race on the weekend.
Sure. Well, like, and this is something I always thought, and I think WFO might have done it down in West Virginia or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, taking an off-road track, doing the dirt jumps and everything, and then just throwing down turf on top of it.
Okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe this was
that's not WFO. Yeah, it would have been years ago.
That was WFO.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, so like
they went from dirt to sugar to carpet.
Yeah, like they make the dirt jumps with the skid steer and everything.
Maybe still that's in history because last time I was there, it's like a full base of turf and wood and made jumps. It's not organic. You know, it's not like UK style where they just throw the carpet like on top. But yeah, it's not like that. But last time I was there, it's all, you know.
I'm gonna redirect the viewers real quick to another clip from
to Ethan's teammate.
This is in Sweden?
Yeah, Ethan's teammate.
Oh, this is Ronnie. Yeah.
Ronnie, yeah.
So yeah, here's another UK track. Hello. That wasn't even for the viewers. He's gonna have to do it again here in 5 minutes. But
that's probably why he muted himself too. Yeah. He knew it was coming.
Here's yeah.
Look at that. That's pretty. See, so that looks sweet to me too. I don't know. Yeah.
How do I?
Looks like he's running bow ties.
How do I do the thing?
I don't know. What do you do?
There we go. So now everyone else can see it. See, it like this looks awesome, you
Yeah, I don't
know.
have a problem with it.
But all right, bring it back to us. All right, but yeah, Ethan, you know you're muted.
Yeah.
Okay, you're
It's
unmuted now.
intentional.
Oh, I fucked
And you turned off your
everything.
camera. There you go.
Hello.
Why is it just us now?
And we're back.
And we're back. We're back.
Oh,
We're
nope.
trying to
We're
be
gone.
back. What are they say? Oh, they're only just seeing us. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Don't change anything. You're fine
No,
right now.
no, you're fine. You have to change your thing back to grid layout.
There we go.
Done.
There we go.
There you go.
I wasn't
Jeez.
sure if I muted Ethan or if he muted himself, so I clicked on Ethan's box and then spent too much time in the basement.
If a mod mutes a person, they're red. Like there'll be a red mute symbol next to their name, not a gray one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But,
You have anything else about track services for hot takes, Alex, or is that it?
no, just to sum it up, I would I don't know, like I wouldn't mind tracks doing more things. Like I'm not complaining about how tracks are doing things now.
Right.
I'm absolutely not complaining about how tracks are doing now, to be very clear. But if anyone wants to build a track and make it a semi-permanent deal with, bricks and shit and turf, I will be there and I'll race. I'll fucking call it. I'll do whatever you want. Like I'm.
Or even if it's because you can only put the track in a location where there's stuff already in the way. Like multi-surface is absolutely, especially for A scale. Running A scale like this, it's a non-issue.
And like, and the biggest thing is like I forget, Taylor, Mike, maybe it was Chris, one of you guys said it, where like, you can't pick a tire that's good everywhere. No matter what tire you pick, it's going to be wishy-washy somewhere. So I feel like it's a good level playing field and really, really test the drivers and how they set up the car. So I feel like it could be fun.
Maybe that's why the Euro guys are faster than us. They need to. It's weird.
It's a good point.
Ethan, do you have any questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions for tracks in this region that they should be doing differently?
Not really. I feel like all the tracks are pretty common. How they're doing everything. I don't know. Europe's always been like the multi-surface thing. I wouldn't say it's exactly better or worse at all.
Have you ever raced internationally at all?
No.
No. What's your farthest reach been? Obviously, you've been to the Visions race. That seemed pretty far, but like, were you at the last Nats in Chico, right?
I went to Chico Nats, and then last year was in Washington, Idaho area.
Oh, that's right, HRCR. Yeah.
I went there.
That seems like a really cool track.
Both of them seem like really cool tracks, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, the HRCR place. Yeah, that place was really cool. It was all put together well and everything. Track size was like appropriate. It wasn't like the largest track ever, but it wasn't small or tight. And that, that place was pretty cool. I'd go back there again if there's another opportunity. The area was really cool too. I'd say it was weird though, cause like it was last June and like we're waking up and it was like upper 30s in the morning.
Jeez.
Oh, jeez. So you went through like all the seasons in a day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Because like it would get up to like 85 by the middle of the day.
Oh,
jeez. Are you ever planning on? Are you trying to do something like overseas, like e-buggy worlds? No.
No, probably not. Costs are pretty high to do a race overseas, and especially a world's race, that's even higher because it's roughly like 10 to 14 days that you're pretty much gone.
Sounds tough. Did Joey say he was going to that? E-Buggy World?
I think he said he was. They're planning to.
I'm kind of curious to see how it does with the first year of it happening.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been...
It's an IFMAR thing?
It's new for this year.
Yeah, but now it's an IFMAR thing?
Yes, now it's an IFMAR thing.
Does it look like it's going to be well attended with all the, say, the top 15 guys that are ranked?
The world or like U.S. guys?
I would ask
In the world.
US question. Because I'm
For
sure
the e-buggy.
I'm sure they'll go. Because, like, I don't think... Because the only other thing is that, like, the Australia Worlds is probably, like, a month right after that. So, I'd say, like, most of the top guys are just on A scale. But I'm not sure for all of them. But I think, like, the U.S. guys, like, I'm pretty sure Dakota's will go to, like, both worlds. Mayfield will go to E-Buggy Worlds. Like, Rivkin will probably, like, go to E-Buggy Worlds and that.
Did Mayfield pretty much toss out 10 scale racing? I thought he had, like, a Schumacher deal, but I haven't seen him.
I mean, it's probably written in there whenever I feel like it, you're going to pay for everything.
And also it's primetime A-scale season too, so I feel like come November we might see more of him catching the carpet, but also I'm not fucking buddy, so.
I'm not entirely sure on that topic. I was thinking maybe he just got with Schumacher and is going to race the Worlds.
Yeah.
But I don't know too much about it.
Do we want to move on to the next upcoming event and talk about our predictions for who's going to win the Roar Fuel Nats?
Well, we have Pro-Am too.
Yeah.
And who would have thought Brennan Schimmel was going to be a national champion? I'm sorry, I forgot about him. I was going to say Chase Lemieux, but, you know, hey. Hey, X-Ray won everything. There you go, Emac. X-Ray won everything.
So I have the warm-up Pro Nitro Buggy Live RC pulled out.
For Pro-Am?
No, this is for Thornhill, the one that just happened. That's completed. Yeah. If we want to go on to that first, do our
that's fine.
Nats predictions.
The Nats.
You want me to read off any of these, or
show them on the
I know the guys.
Yeah.
But
I like how some
and
of them are
not all of them attended. So I mean, Ryan Lutz is still in there,
right?
And Spencer Rivkin,
right?
He's not in my predictions to win, but he'll be up there.
He's won there
I'm sure.
Twice before.
And Ethan didn't make it to the warm up either. So
right. Neither did Cash Pieri.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We're gonna sponsor that kid. Here's 6 stickers. You're now sponsored.
Yeah. We operate in the same unicorn dollars as Lefty does, so we got funds.
Anyways, let's go on to Nat's predictions.
Well, you got your computer up. You seem like you're ready to.
I'm not ready.
Do we want to do 3 or top 5, or what do you guys think?
What did we do last time? We did top.
We did
3?
something last time.
We did top 3. Yeah.
You did something last time.
We did do something.
I wasn't probably.
I think we did top 3 last time. So let's do top 3 again.
Okay.
For Pro Nitro Buggy only. I'll start. I'm gonna put Fend at the top. Okay. I'm gonna put Ryan Mayfield second. I'm gonna put Seth Van Dalen in the 3rd spot. So I'm basically kind of swapping what just happened, but I didn't even look at this. I just that I'm very confident in those predictions. I really think especially after seeing Fend run away with it after the warm-up race, like after he got around Van Dalen, he just checked the fuck out. Like, Fend is showing tremendous speed, especially in his new X-Ray car. It's going to take a lot for him to not win.
It's going to take some...
Like, Mayfield's Mayfield. I'm hoping he's got something burning under his ass right now with Fend just on top of his game. I hope Mayfield wins, but I'm expecting Fend to. And then Van Dalen's a fucking rock star, so I definitely see Van Dalen coming in 3rd. That's my predictions. Next.
Go ahead, Davey.
Come back to me.
You want to go, Ethan?
Yeah. I'll go Dakota, Mason Fuller, and then Brandon Rose.
All
I
right.
like that.
Those are good. Those
I
are
like
good.
that.
Solid picks. Solid picks.
Mike, you ready?
Yeah, and I think they're the same as Alex's. With Dakota, Ryan, Seth.
What's funny
Like,
is I
well-
already have mine written down, and it's the same thing: Dakota, Ryan, Seth.
Yeah, like, so there's two things with Dakota, right? I'm assuming he's going to make it at this point, you know.
What do you mean? He's
But if
not
he
gonna
finishes
make
the
it?
race,
Right.
Yeah.
Providing the fending doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
If he doesn't pull a Van Dalen
Yeah.
and flame out twice in pit lane.
Dakota just has a long track history of not finishing races. So
Right.
Who's his main pitman now? That's
I think it's Chicky,
right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's been pretty solid so far since he got on X-ray. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was a motor issue back then, but
It seemed like he was lost without Barry Baker for a little while when he was still on TLR and Barry
Yeah.
left.
I definitely think, like, on a team standpoint and like a personal standpoint, I think it's gonna take a lot for Chicky to make sure Dakota doesn't finish a race. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Chicky is doing so much work right now on the side, behind the scenes, to make sure Fenn's car is on the track and is perfect every time it goes out till the end. So I think Fend has the hardest working people in the pits right now for him on the X-Ray team. So, like, today, Fend, I highly doubt he doesn't finish. Unless he has, like, a fucking engine blow up or, you know, something
Yeah.
otherworldly.
So, other than my predictions for Fed, Mayfield, and Van Dalen, I'm going to put Lutz in 4, although we're not really doing 4th place. I think he's just going to be outside of there.
Yeah.
And I also want to make note that I think some people that are going to come up is Brandon Rose and Camden Lime because they stayed down there testing after the fact.
Yeah.
I think they're people that are putting in the work. And in E-Buggy, B. Rose had quite a bit of pace. He just couldn't stick it together consistently,
No,
I
he
think, with
finished
some
pretty
racing.
well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Can I add 4th and a 5th?
Yeah, if you want to.
So 4th, I want to put B Rose, and 5th, I want to put Drake.
Damn.
Yeah. That's going to be really good for the Mugen points.
Yeah,
That's a bold statement. That was bold right
that's
there.
a bold statement.
Yeah.
You got to make your top 3 yet, Davey.
Oh, shit. Oh, I'm not creative, but I'll put Dakota up front as a should and a hopeful. This is what we're should and hopeful is what we're going for. What was Ethan's? For some reason, I think I'm going to copy.
He did
Ethan.
B Rose and Mason. Fenn, B Rose, Mason.
No, he
Mason,
did.
right?
He
Or
said Fuller was in there somewhere.
Mason Fuller. Fuller second.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then who was third?
B Rose.
B Rose. I want Fuller somewhere in the top 3. Oh, fuck.
Just put question marks behind him.
Yeah, no. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put Dakota out front, or then you're gonna put Mayfield and Fuller with the arrows that like swap them.
It's the Spider-Man
Yeah,
name.
either one. No, well, I'm gonna put Dakota first, but either Mayfield and Fuller will be finish out the top 3. Don't quote me on the order. Flip a coin, somebody.
Okay.
Oh, there, I picked something. Be happy with it.
That's all I got.
Do we want to talk Pro-Am?
Yeah.
Who's all down there?
What shall I look up?
I mean, we know Camden Lime's down there, but Dakota is Dakota down there? Like he did it.
Our
last
other
year?
guest, Joey Bourdon, is down there. Come on,
Joey-
dude.
Oh, I didn't know. That's why I'm asking.
The People's Champ is
Look,
down there.
Babyface is down there.
Mad
yeah.
Maddie's
Yeah,
down there.
Cole Cole Ogden TQ'd Nitro Buggy,
Yeah.
and then Joey TQ'd E-Buggy.
What's Cole running now?
Mugen.
Oh, again? Okay.
But I think it's on his own dime. He chose to go to Mugen and just run that on his own dime, as far as I know.
What's their entries? Oh, they only had 182 entries. Ooh.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of big names down
Hey,
there.
look, there's
No.
Dennis.
Dennis Brew?
Dennis.
Yeah, right there. P9 and Sportsman Nitro Buggy.
Dennis got drafted in by the draft by somebody. I can't remember whose team he's on.
That's fun.
So
Yeah, they don't show that. I don't know. Maybe it's on Facebook somewhere.
yeah.
It has to be on Facebook somewhere.
So the People's Champ is kind of kicking ass.
So
by
how
like
many
10
how many
seconds.
pro how does is it every pro in the pro main? Like there's 11 of them. So is there 11? Do they all of them draft somebody, or is it only like the top so many draft somebody? Like how does this work?
I don't have that answer. I just watched it live for a little bit. I kind of tuned in. It seemed like there was maybe 8 or
They're
10
tiny.
Oh,
of
yeah,
them.
it's that guy, yeah. Okay.
I'm scrolling through the Pro-Am Facebook. So
See, this looks like where we need to be.
right, this will probably be a blast.
Oh, this is their teams.
This is
see?
the teams, yeah.
Nice.
So
Look
yeah,
at that.
it's all the Nitro because that's Wade.
Except
Who's
it
that?
doesn't have people's names.
Who's that guy?
I don't know.
See, I'm terrible with faces compared to their names. It's another guy and
Hey,
another.
look, there's
Hey, there's
Brent. Look,
Dennis.
Brent and Dennis are on the same team. Go back. Isn't that Brent? And
Yeah,
Dennis?
that's Brent and
look at
Dennis. And that's Mad Maddie. Don't know.
that.
There's Babyface.
Oh, that's right, because they do electric and nitro
Yeah,
separate.
and that's Cole, right?
Yeah. There's Camden Lime.
Yeah, and there's Wade. Look at that afro. Anyways.
So, Dennis TQ'd Sportsman Nitro Truck, by the way.
Nice.
Really? Sportsman Nitro Truck, yes, he did. That a boy, Dennis. Where's Smoji? Is Smoji even running?
He'd be in Sportsman if he is running.
There's sports specific sportsman division.
Oh, you're
He usually-
Sportsman Truggy right
Yes.
here, and I don't see him.
Runs truck.
Sportsman E-Buggy, Pro Nitro, Sportsman Nitro, 40 plus.
Sportsman Nitro Buggy over there.
Sportsman E-Buggy. Or E-Truggy, rather. Track tire treatment, E-Truggy. Yeah, Garrett McCutcheon TQ'd Open E-Truggy. There's Smoji in 27th. Oh, Bradley Lingerman's down
Anybody
there.
else just
fourth.
think it's fun to say Smoji?
Smoji. Mad Matty up in the two. So Garrett, our local guy, Garrett McCutcheon's beating out Mad Matty. That's pretty exciting. But cool. I saw Colton's name in here. Yeah, right there. So yeah, we got a few locals down there at the Pro-Am. That definitely seems like a fun race to go to.
It definitely seems like a fun race to go to.
And
What is that, like 7 hours?
probably.
Camper.
Well, so while I have everyone's attention,
What?
Uh,
As everybody's not even looking at the.
Ethan spaced out.
His Uncle Mike's looking at something else. Taylor's texting somebody.
Uh,
To those who are listening,
my maths say I have, after the Halloween race at LCRC, I have 2 vacation days that I have to burn before December. And so if everyone else's vacation days and the slowest fast crew dictates, I would love to all of us travel to a race where we just actually race at.
fuck, you'll find your way into the booth after a
And I
while.
talked about Fall Brawl.
What is
Not a fall
Bro?
brawl guy.
Not a Fall Brawl guy. It's like November or something.
Let's say, because October's kind of
You're out for October, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, October's pretty much out of the question either, because WL and then LCRC, and so that's 2 weekends gone. So it's we're talking November, December only. So like talking, I'll hook up the camper and everyone hop in the truck and we'll just all ride down together in the same vehicle.
In theory, that sounds like a great idea.
Right, it sounds like fucking blast. So,
but reality,
just dropping in everyone's minds. I'd love to travel to a weekend-long race with everyone before the year's end. If we can find out one we can all fit in on. Otherwise...
I just seemed miserable at Fall Brawl the last time.
No, I get that.
Because they were all in tents with heaters full blast, trying to warm your hands up and stuff in between. Like, I don't know.
But we might have campers.
I mean, if anybody came into the camper, they'd see us all huddled in the back room on the same bed. So
huddled.
Yeah, up on top of it.
I'm huddling. But which the having the extra bonus days means I'll be able to make
from the recording, and then we can talk.
Yeah, we'll do that. We're still doing a thing.
Yeah, Krista's tuned out by now.
Yeah, Krista, she got the housewives on.
Yeah, she got the housewives on.
Ethan, do you have anyone you want to thank or shout out before we tune off?
Thank God this podcast is over.
Just all my sponsors, and I get all tracks in our area and that. Because I think majority of them been here since I started running. I mean, obviously some.
Kicking dirt. Pour one out.
Who are all your sponsors, Ethan?
So I run for X-Ray RC America, and then under X-Ray is also like Hootie and FX, and then D for tires, Coyote Electronic, and then MKS servos, and then LCRC and 997, like my two shops, pretty much that support me a lot. And ProLids Paints, that's who does all my body paint and that. Brandon Swisher down in Virginia. And then A-Main falls under like Coyote pretty much since they're the distributor.
Good deal.
I'll shout out Mike for eating his bananas and not having a cramp.
Drinking Gatorade or whatever.
Drinking Gatorade and hydrating and everything else. Shout out to Tony,
right.
ACS Hobbies, Tony and Colleen. Next.
Shout out to LCRC, Mugen Siki Racing, Monster Energy. We're still looking for a sponsor. That'd be great.
Please.
Twisted Tea, we got Rocket Pop.
Opus Clip is expensive.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah. What? Techno, Tekin, MKS, Promotion, J&T, Jim Lonzo, Chris Patterson, all the other friends and family.
Davey. All right. He doesn't know, so we're just going to conclude it on that note. This has been episode 15. Davey, what do we say?
We say keep it on its wheels between the pipes. And Ethan, E-Mac, what do we say?
On his wheels between the pipes.
And
full throttle. Blows.
Hey! You said the magic word! Good night, everyone!